I want to perceive non-physical energy more fully, to see it, feel it, hear it. And I'm wondering, what can I do to get a better sense of it?
We don't want you to separate yourself from it so much. In other words, everything that you see around you is a manifestation of that energy. You can't observe anything that isn't non-physical energy in one form or another. So tell us a little bit more about why you want to do this.
I feel kind of tied to the physical world. You know, for instance, the notion that there is no death and that we're so much more than what we, are in our physical bodies. I'd like to deal more with people in a broader sense.
Well, we've been talking all day here today about vibrational awareness, and we think that that's the answer that you're looking for, because when you get yourself deliberately looking for thoughts that feel good to you, now you're deliberately attuning to the vibration of source. And the more you are in alignment with that, then the more you are able to discern it in all kinds of different forms. Do you feel so rooted in the physical that you feel that you are somehow separate from the non-physical?
Sometimes, yes.
When we first began visiting with friends through Esther in this format, we began talking about your inner being, because we saw so many people who were so physically manifested and so aware of the stuff around them that we knew that they did not understand who they are. They did not understand the source or even the inner being that is present within them at all times. But as we named the non-physical part of you inner being, even though it was our desire to help you to recognize more fully who you are, it served in some cases to almost separate people further, because they thought of the physical me and then they thought of the non-physical me. People do that sort of automatically as they think of being dead or alive. They'll say, I have a soul, and they think of their soul as then coming into them and living in them while they're in this body.
That's exactly what I'm thinking.
And then they think of the soul in non-physical, and sometimes it takes a little bit of time before a person can begin to recognize that you are eternal consciousness who is always focused in non-physical, who sometimes specifically focuses that consciousness into a physical body.
Well, is there anything beyond raising my vibration that I can do to see
Making
that?
a statement, I want to understand myself in my physical body from my non-physical perspective, making that statement, and then just reaching for thoughts that feel good. Eventually you will come around to that awareness. Let us give you some examples. You're always connected to source energy. You cannot be disconnected ever. But sometimes you are more fully up to speed with the vibration of your source. And when you're vibrationally up to speed with your source, then you know what your source knows. So this is the conundrum that you are facing. When you're not vibrationally up to speed with the energy of your source, you can't recognize it because you're on a different vibration. When you are perfectly up to speed, you feel no separation, so you can't see it from those eyes that need to see it because you are it. In other words, sometimes people will say to Esther, what's it like to allow Abraham to flow through you? And Esther will say, it's a sensation of flying. And they will say, well, do you hear what Abraham says? And Esther will say, when Abraham is speaking through me, I know what Abraham says. In other words, there's no separation between Abraham's knowing and my knowing, because in that moment, in that activation, we are one. But then later, when Esther listens through her own ears to a recording, she is often amazed at what has taken place during these sessions where Abraham is flowing through her. So we'll say that to you again, because it's the key to what you're looking for. From your place of feeling in need of understanding who your inner being or source or non-physical energy is, in that needy place, you're not up to speed with it, so you can't see it. When you are up to speed with it, you don't need to see it because you are it. But we get the sense of what you're asking for. The best way to approach it is by saying to you that when you die, there is no death. We prefer the word croak. It is more disrespectful. When you croak, you reemerge into pure positive energy. And in that moment, you will not have a moment's disorientation. You will not wonder who you are. You will not wonder where you are. You will become super consciousness. Jerry had an experience years ago where he was in the back of a pickup truck with some other people, and the truck rolled over and he lost consciousness. And later he said to us in a group gathering like this that that was the day that he stopped worrying about death, because he experienced being alert, being alive, being awake, and then being knocked unconscious. And for him it was just like, now I'm here and now I'm not, so therefore nothing to worry about. And then he announced to us and to the others, so now I know what death is like. And we said, you have no idea what death is like. That brief moment of non-consciousness is far from what death is. Death is not non-conscious or unconscious. Death is fully conscious. Death is super conscious, you see. So the more you reach for thoughts that feel good, and the more you tend to your own vibration, and the more you appreciate and bask and look for reasons to feel good and tune your vibration to that natural state of being, then the more of who you really are will flow through you. And what you're going to discover is that the sensation of non-physical, the way that non-physical feels to you, your awareness of non-physical is emotional. It's what exhilaration is. It's what passion is. It's what joy, so boundless you can hardly contain it, feels like. You see.
Okay.
Sometimes people like to see energy because it is confirming. And that's lovely. You can see energy. You can translate energy with your eyes and use it in a confirming way. But the surefire way to understand who you are is by feeling your connection with who you are. It's that feeling of freedom, that feeling of joy. Did we get close to what you're reaching for?
Yeah, very helpful.
Good.